Go to some scary movie.
Like scary movies?
Uh-huh.
What's your favorite scary movie?
Look at me, Damien. It's all for you.
Kill her, Mommy. Kill her.
We all go a little mad sometimes.
This is my boomstick. Here's Johnny.
I have to return some videotapes.
We'll tear your soul apart.
Hello and welcome to a head-exploding episode of All Things Horror. I am your host Ben and I'm joined here with my co-host Matt. If you are new to the show, each week we choose a movie to break down and review. We give our honest opinions and rate it from 1 to 10. We have a brief spoiler-free chat about the movie before heading into the plot and discussing our favourite or least favourite parts of the movie. This week we're going to be talking about Chopping Mall from 1986. But before we do, let's take a quick look at the trailer.
They broke into the mall for the wildest all-night party of their lives.
Get that meat.
But you're never alone in the Chopping Mall.
What's that? Robot blood.
Chopping Mall, where shopping costs you an arm and a leg.
Okay, so a group of young shopping mall employees stay behind for a late night party in one of the stores. When the mall goes on lockdown, before they can get out, the robot security system malfunctions and goes onto a killing spree. Written and directed by Jim Wynorski. Main cast: Kelli, Maroney, Tony O'Dell, Russell Todd, Carrie Emerson, Barbara Crampton. Total runtime of 1 hour 16 minutes. It's available on Shudder, Amazon Prime, or if you want to cheap out like me, you can watch it for free on Plex, but it's got adverts.
It's free on YouTube as well.
Oh, is it on YouTube? All right. Yeah, this is a movie I've not seen before. I was actually surprised to see the budget was only 800k. I know 80s movies don't tend to have a huge budget, but this didn't necessarily feel to me that it was that low of a budget film.
No, it's that kind of Roger Corman school of filmmaking, making using every penny really carefully. I think Jim Wynorski is basically, he made 107 films. These are his sort of earlier days where he really was a student of Roger Corman, and this is produced by Roger Corman. So I think as well, with it all being inside the mall, it's able to kind of look more of a film than it is. I believe that it's the same mall that they did Phantom of the Mall in, and also Commando, the Sherman Oaks Mall, and Fast Times at Ridgemont High. So automatically it looks like it's a more expensive film.
Yeah, I couldn't find a box office earning for this. I don't suppose you know how much that they made on this one, do you? Couldn't see it anywhere.
I'd imagine that this is the kind of, I don't know. They probably made a lot of the money from the burgeoning home video scene. So I'd imagine that if it was on at the cinema, it was on for a very short amount of time, because it was released as Killbots and then released again as Chopping Mall. Did better as Chopping Mall because there's actually not any like chopping really in the film.
No, yeah, that was one of the films. I went into this knowing absolutely nothing about it. All I'd seen is the poster for it, and I wasn't expecting it to be like this at all. Like the poster shows like a robot hand holding a shopping bag. That's a huge misleading poster if you're going by that. It's
basically the opposite of Short Circuit. It's just like if instead of getting struck by lightning and becomes cute, lovable Johnny Five, we get murderous Johnny Five. It's essentially this. It's that, but there's no chopping. It's not a slasher. It's a lot of fun though. Like I can understand why people might be disappointed thinking they're going to see like a mall-based slasher film, and that's exactly what it isn't. But it's a bit like the equivalent of like giving something like a YouTube video a title or a certain thumbnail to get people's attention, and then it being about something completely different. I think that's kind of what they did with posters and movies and trailers and stuff then. But there's a great cat. I mean, this is a really, like, you've got Dick Miller in it as the janitor, who's one of my favorite actors. He's so good.
Yeah.
You've got Barbara Crampton, who is, as well as I think she really is one of the best screen queens in the fact that she's a great actress and she's beautiful as well. Kelli Maroney's in Night of the Comet. She's always good. And I didn't mind any of the characters. I feel like the Mike character's the funniest character because he's like constantly chewing gum. He's like dickhead. But like Ferdy's a nice character. But actually, I quite like. I find him quite funny, that Mike character. And obviously, he doesn't last the full movie. Well, not many of them do. But yeah, he's really funny with a big mullet, chewing gum, like making weird noises, just over the top. Everything, good times to the max and stuff like that, Yeah. But I love all mall related stuff, so I'm a sucker for this kind of thing. I love the Dead malls. I love Dawn of the Dead, the Stranger Things season where they're in the mall, Phantom of the Mall, Eric's Revenge, anything with malls. Even there's a Jackie Chan film where there's the big scene at the end of it. I think it's Police Story, maybe Police Story 2. I'm not sure. So yeah, I love it. What were your thoughts of it?
Yeah, I mean, you told me you wouldn't have thought that I'd have liked it because I didn't really like Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. But to be honest, it weren't that bad. I found it quite enjoyable. I did find myself laughing through most of it, but yeah,
it's silly. It is silly.
A very cheesy 80s horror, but yeah, I liked it. It was enjoyable.
Yeah,
I had a few beers, so that probably helped. It's not one of those horrors to be taken seriously. No. It is. It's a lot of fun. The soundtrack's really good as well. Like proper 80s electronic sort of soundtrack. And you get that 2-minute intro where it's all kind of, well, now it is like nostalgia, looking through everything that was there in, what was this, 84, wasn't it? Oh, no, 86.
Yeah. And yeah, it is. It's like, it's a shame because there isn't many, or if any, malls like this left anywhere now. And the ones that are around, if you see any of the Dead Mall stuff, are kind of, they're dying off, or there's not much left with them. It's a shame.
Yeah, you touched on some of the people in there. Obviously Dick Miller. I've obviously he's been in quite a lot of films, but I mostly know him from Gremlins. But did you notice Russell Todd? He looked very familiar to me, and I couldn't place him. I had to search it, but he was in Friday the 13th Part 2. He was that guy that got caught up in a trap upside down in a tree. Right.
Yeah. There's like I mean, Dick Miller, and it's one that's out of, it's copyright free now, that he made when he was younger, called Bucket of Blood, and that's worth seeking out. That's one of these ones you can watch anywhere because it's free. He plays like an outsider art kind of guy. He's passed away now, but he could carry a movie. Like, the guy's an incredible actor. like you say, probably best known for Gremlins, but I think there's a documentary all about everything that Dick Miller did because he was in so many things. I think it's called That Guy from That Thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of.
Yeah, this is one I've heard about for a little while, but it's never kind of stood out as a movie that I should watch. When did you first discover this one?
I caught it on YouTube maybe 2018, something like that. And funnily enough, the version that I watched on YouTube is still on there now. Oh. It's not been taken down or anything like that. But Jim Wynorski, I think a friend of mine and myself, we were going to watch quite a lot of these films because he's made a lot of sort of trashy Roger Corman style films, and he's still making them now. However, there is a film that he has done, a 46-minute film for Full Moon, called Killbots or Murderbot, depending on what, about a female robot going berserk on a killing spree. So he's literally used the name again, and that's like a 2023 film. I don't know where to find that or whether it's on the Full Moon channel or whatever, but he's still going. I mean, he's, like I say, 107 films. I was
going through his films, and judging by some of the films he's done, that's probably a reason why he's kind of slipped under the radar for me, because I know we've had like like Sharknado and stuff like that, and he's done similar ones like Piranhaconda or Sharkansas Woman's Prison Massacre.
Yeah, he started off doing some actual like films that were, you know, released at the cinema and stuff, and then I think he's gone down the route of like David Dakota kind of thing, where it's like a combination of very, very, very low budget trashy films that you'd find on the Full Moon channel and that kind of thing, or like A Dog at Christmas kind of films, or A Princess's Christmas, like just that kind of weird thing between really sort of overly sexual stuff and then on the other side like really cheap so-called wholesome stuff as well. They always seem to balance these two things. It's really odd. I've
got a few of his kind of over-sexual films here. He's done The Bear Wench Project, The Hills Have Thighs, Scared Topless, and I think this one's going to be pretty good, Attack of the 50-Foot Cam Girl.
Yeah, that'll be a Full Moon one. That sounds like something Charles Band would have. Yeah, it's weird really that he's done so much, but like started off, you know, under the, I suppose what it is, what those sort of cheap exploitation genre films that Roger Corman used to do then became the sort of films that Charles Band and Full Moon would do, and Jim Wynorski's just kind of gone in that direction. His whole career has just stayed in the low budget one. But I think this film and just below it were probably the closest he's got to being mainstream. Like he wrote like quite a few films that made it to the cinema, like Screwballs and Sorceress, and he wrote Forbidden World, which again is a Roger Corman one. He wrote quite a few, and then
I think I see he's done. Did he do Return of the Swamp Thing?
Oh yeah.
I've not seen it, but you know.
No, this is the thing. He's done like a few sequels to things. The Breastford Wives, Busty Cops Go Hawaiian. Could literally just read his thing. But then he's got ones like that, like A Doggone Christmas, or Nessie and Me, or A Doggone Hollywood, or Doggone Adventure, like all these ones for just kids. So yeah, in a way, I think he proved he could do a movie. Like he's technically good enough to do a movie that would be on at the cinema. Like this isn't a badly made film at all.
No,
it looks pretty cool actually.
Yeah. To be honest, that's probably all I've got now for pre-spoilers. I mean, Rotten Tomatoes rating, middle of the road, 55% for the critics, and lower for audience is a 39.
There's quite a nice bit of like, some of it's quite humorous as well, and like some of the stuff that some of it's quite knowingly scripted, or the chef is just absolutely disgusting.
Oh my
and,
God, yeah.
Like there's some quite funny stuff in it. Like he's not making a trashy film thinking he's making high art or whatever. It's some of it is quite knowing and quite well put together, and it's just a lot of fun. I really enjoy it. So yeah, let's get into it. Let's get into the...
All right, cool. I'll go ahead and hit that spoiler warning.
Spoiler warning.
So, Park Plaza Mall has just installed a state-of-the-art security system, including shutters across all exits and 3 high-tech robots programmed to disable and apprehend thieves using tasers and tranquilizer guns. Alison and Susie are co-workers at a pizzeria in the mall. They join their boyfriends Greg and Ferdy, along with their other couples' friends, Rick and Linda, and Mike and Leslie, for an after-hours party in a furniture store. Once the mall closes, the couples begin to drink, have sex, and party inside the furniture store. So yeah, it's a pretty cool intro. Like I said earlier, you get that kind of couple of minutes of nostalgia, 80s in the mall. And this was a real mall, wasn't it? So I would imagine a lot of these shops were like real shops.
Yeah. This is the Sherman Oaks, the famous Sherman Oaks Mall. So yeah, it has to save money. They only film this at night, whereas all the other big budget movies will have filmed during the day as well. So obviously it makes sense anyway because the whole film is happening at night, really. Anyway, so
yeah, lockdown.
Yeah. It makes sense to do that.
We mentioned earlier about the chef, the pizzeria guy. He's very kind of like cliche. He was like
disgusting as well.
Kind of overly Italian, like cigarette hanging from his mouth, white shirt just absolutely covered in sauce, and he kept shouting like, "Hey, come on, hey!"
Yeah, he's. I like looking at all the stuff that there was around. Obviously, there's some gross things, and there's the kind of like that they have to accept that the customers are gonna like grab hold of them and touch them and stuff, which is like, well, I'm kind of glad that that's not a thing or shouldn't be a thing now. Like seeing the big old like Coca-Cola designs or like classic Pepsi designs and stuff like that is dead cool. Just seeing all that, it's like one of my favorite eras of film to see things like this.
Yeah, this these robots and everything about this, it very much seemed like RoboCop to me, but on a smaller scale.
For me, it was like more Short Circuit, but like especially when they're moving, the music kind of matches the music. Which I think is really cool. There's a couple of like Roger Corman references in posters and things around, and a couple of the people who are in the presentation at the beginning have been in some other Roger Corman movies. So there's like a kind of nice, fun feel to the film straight away. You can tell straight away it's not taking itself too seriously. No.
I did find it really funny. These characters. What's the guy that's chewing gum, like overly chewing his gum?
Oh, Mike. Yeah.
He's going to town on that gum.
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously been either told to do that or it's his own choice and he's not been told to stop. And it's like, yeah, even at the end, which I think is great, where the names of the actors come up, and it cuts to them, like, I'm not sure that it's outtakes or bits from the film, and he's literally just chewing as much as humanly possible while the camera's on him. He is such a funny character, such an 80s dick character.
Oh, God.
With his mullet and his gum and his big, massive, handsome head.
I actually laughed out loud at one point when I think it's the scene where Ferdy and who's the girl that he's with? The other like kind of nerdy girl.
Oh, he's Kelly Maroney's character.
Yeah, is it Alison?
Alison. I just read it and thought I'd wrote Alan. But
Yeah, Ferdy and Alison, it's a scene where they're talking, and I think Ferdy talks about, all they ever do is have sex. And then you just hear him shout out from the background, "Oh my God, you're the king, you're the king."
Yeah, because they always seem to argue or be having sex, and Alison goes, "Like all couples." It's like all teenage couples played by mid to late 20s actors. Do.
I'm assuming that only happens in the movies because I've never been called a king.
Well, all the time I'm the king. the Jim Wynorski is very aware of like wanting wanting beautiful women in his films. I think I'd read that he'd hired the young woman who's with Mike because he'd seen her in Playboy.
All right.
And like obviously Kelli Maroney, I think he hired her because he wanted to ask her out on a date. So this is like just the peak 80s hardiness. Well, I mean, Barbara Crampton is one of mine. I think when we did our most beautiful top 5, I think she was in my top 5.
Barbara Crampton, is that? Which one's that? Susie Lynn?
Susie, yeah, she's Susie.
And
she's also in Reanimator.
Oh, is she the blonde one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And yeah, she's amazing. And she's such a great actress as well, like real classically trained actress. She's the opposite to a lot of the people who just got the parts because they're good looking. She's actually good looking and is like theatre trained and worked really hard on her craft and produces and writes and still going strong now in films. She is pretty amazing. So yeah, and I'd forgotten that she gets burnt to a crisp as well.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so outside, a lightning storm strikes the mall several times and damages the computer controlling protectors 1, 2, and 3, which malfunction and kill the technicians and a janitor before starting their routine patrol. When Mike goes to get some cigarettes for Leslie, Protector 1 attacks him and slashes his throat. When Leslie goes to find him, she is chased by Protector 1, which kills her with a laser. Yeah, that was pretty cool. That is probably the bit that stood out to me. Like, when her head just fucking explodes.
Yeah, headshot! and where that's the bit where her name comes up at the end of the film as well.
Oh,
like
yeah, and it shows it again.
Yeah, there's a bit of humour with that, really, as well. You should do that in all films. Just have like the actor's name, and then how they died.
How they died. I did put as my note. I was like, good points and bad points. I was like, bad points, the CGI fucking sucks, and good points, Leslie's head blowing up was fucking awesome.
Yeah, it was good.
That was cool.
She's like, Mike, stop lying down on the floor.
Oh, yeah.
Cigarette machines and the.
You can't. Yeah, the CGI was bad, but you can't really blame it. They had what they had in '86. It's. Yeah. You're laughing at most of the stuff in this film, so you may as well laugh at that as well.
At least they're not like badly animated cartoon robots. They're actual proper kill bots. I believe most of the budget went on making those.
Yeah, I mean, Dick Miller in particular, when he got zapped the fuck up, like, he always plays that really grumpy person. Like, that's just his character in every film. Like, he is him in Gremlins in this film as well.
Yeah, I read that he's supposed to be the same character in this as he was in Bucket of Blood. But in Bucket of Blood, he's like a kind of amiable guy that who's a bit simple and everybody takes advantage of him, and he kind of loses the plot. But I don't know. I didn't see any similarities. Then again, it was probably about 20 years later. Yeah. But yeah, He's good in everything, though. He's great. He's so. It's like who was it I was talking about the other day? I was talking about Clint Howard, and I was like, Clint Howard is good in everything, and like he could and has carried a film like Clint Howard carried this film, Evil Speak, but now you just see him in things like Ice Cream Man or stuff like that, or a little part in something. But actually, people like Dick Miller and Clint Howard, these character actors, they should be like best supporting actor at the Oscars or something, or having a big part in a film because they're so good.
Yeah, I noticed a couple of plot holes. I know this ain't really a film that you should be picking apart, but when Mike tried to escape, when the killbot or protector, whatever you want to call it, when the robot came after him, he tried to get out of the fire exit, but it was locked. I was like, that's not how fire exits work. Like, they're a fire exit for a reason. You should be able to get out of it. So
how many times in films is there like chains around fire exit
doors?
Doors?
The whole point is if there's a fire, you can get out of that door. But yeah, but yeah, the other one was I noticed this quite early on when the killbot killed that first guy, the technician guy upstairs, and then the other one comes back and he can't find him. He's not there. It's like, are they like moving bodies around? Because like when they kill people, they tend not to be there. And as well, I think, was it Mike that just got his throat slit? I think he fell to the floor, but when Leslie come and find him, he's like propped up against the wall.
I wonder if it's just like because they all had to film at night and stuff like that they have to just keep coming back every night and doing it from scratch and forgetting where everybody was and what they were doing.
Yeah, that's true.
They couldn't just leave them there like the whole, or have something in position to remind them. It's like there's a whole day's worth of people shopping and moving around in between each scene. Yeah, so the others witness Leslie's death.
Fatality.
And they barricade themselves in a storeroom. The women attempt to escape through an air vent, but Susie panics because she wants her boyfriend. The men break into a sports store to get some firearms. They then use the propane tank to seemingly destroy Protector 1. The men set up the elevator as a booby trap. The killbots ambush the women and ignite Susie by shooting her gasoline can, burning her alive. The teens regroup. The teens regroup and rig the elevator trap on Protector 2, destroying it. Ferdy suggests destroying the killbots' main control center in hopes of shutting them all down. They all agree to head to the control center on the 3rd floor. The robots throw Greg over the railing and he falls to his death.
Oh dear.
I've fallen and I can't get up.
Yeah, to be honest, I didn't really like Greg anyway.
Greg reminded me a bit of Paul Gleason, from the Breakfast, the teacher from the Breakfast Club.
Oh yeah. It
reminds me a bit of him to look at.
Yeah, I mean, I know he was upset because his girlfriend just got lit up, but he pulled a shotgun on Ferdy for like no reason.
Yeah, Ferdy's just one of those guys as well where he's like, without those glasses, he's not a geek.
Yeah.
He's like, he's like proper handsome, really nice, normal. Just put glasses on him. What a fucking geek. It's like another offensive portrayal of people wearing glasses.
Yeah. That's like, what's his face out of Christine? Like, he was a nerdy kid and then he didn't need his glasses anymore and then all of a sudden he was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ironic, though, that his last words before heading out was, "They won't get me," and then he gets chucked over.
Oh dear. Famous last words.
Yeah. The 4 remaining survivors, Alison, Ferdy, Rick and Linda, they also find the first robot recovered after its earlier defeat. They take refuge inside the department store and set up mannequins to confuse Protector 1 and 3. The plan works and the robots fire at the dummies and one of them blinds itself with its own laser. However, blind Protector 3 kills Linda and an enraged Rick rams a golf cart into it. And then a bolt of electricity kills him, but his attack succeeds in destroying the robot. Yeah, I kind of made a side note, like from the start of this film, like who'd I'd think would survive, and absolutely it was going to be the two nerdy ones. Because it's they stick to the rules.
There are certain rules
to survive a horror film. Yeah,
Yeah.
the others didn't abide by that rules.
No.
Something I didn't like about this scene, and I know we've spoken about this before on a couple of movies, it's when there's cruelty to animals. Because there's a scene like when she's in the pet shop, Alison, and she's hiding from it, and you see like tanks are getting smashed everywhere, and then you see like snakes and tarantulas crawling across the floor together. You can tell they've been like riled up because they're ready to attack. But one of the snakes trying to get away actually hit over a tarantula, potentially. I don't think it killed it, but like injured it. Yeah, I don't know. I'm a tarantula and snake owner, so that kind of bugged me a little bit.
All right. Oh, that just shows you, doesn't it? Because I didn't really notice that at all, and I've seen it quite a few times. It didn't kind of resonate with me. But I guess it would if it was like a dog or something like that.
Yeah. I know.
It's weird how
most
how
people
our minds
wouldn't
work,
notice
isn't
it, yeah. Because most people don't have spiders and whatnot as pets.
No, but still, I agree. Like they shouldn't, not just for entertainment purposes, to be like squishing.
Yeah, well, I know. I think it was Friday the 13th, part 1. I think it was either 1 or 2. They took it to the next level because they actually purposely killed a snake.
Oh,
yeah.
There's a lot of the video nasty ones that I don't want to see for those sort of reasons. That I know that they killed real animals for stuff. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that.
Yeah, not a fan.
No.
But yeah, I mean, we're getting quite a lot of action out of this bit, and it's actually towards the end of the film now. So Protector 1 corners Alison, but Ferdy rescues her and shoots it point blank, damaging its laser just before he falls unconscious. Despite an injured leg, Alison escapes into a paint shop and sets up a trap by mixing paint and chemicals. She lures Protector 1 inside, where it gets stuck, unable to get traction on the spilled paint and thinners. Alison then tosses a flare into the store, igniting the chemicals and finally destroying Protector 1. Then, when daylight appears, Alison leaves the store and Ferdy awakens. The two remain the only survivors. Did you notice the post credits in this?
I probably did. I don't think I watched it all the way after the credits this time, so you might need to remind me.
There is indeed a fourth Protector. And you see him roll onto the scene, and he says,
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Yes. We're going to have Killbots 2 or Shopping Mall 2.
Shopping Mall 2.
We need to make I think he has made Killbots or whatever it is, but he needs to make Shopping Mall 2.
All right, let's jump into our ratings. So this is an interesting one. So 1 out of 10, having nice days. So I think I'm going to start off by saying I did not hate this movie. It was quite enjoyable, but I reckon if they remade this today, it would probably land a bit better. The downsides for me was mostly just like the acting and the dialogue. I didn't really find it that believable. I felt a lot of it was either overacted or underacted. Nothing seemed to kind of hit home where I was like, I can see, what they're going through, what they're feeling kind of thing. Aside from that, the only other thing was the CGI, but like I said earlier, with it being mid-80s, you can't really hold that against it. They only had what was available at the time, and I'm sure at the time it did look, really good. Practical effects side, though, I really enjoyed that, watching Leslie's head blow up. That was pretty epic. The overall story concept of it, I really liked. I thought it was pretty cool. So if they did remake it, I'll be more than happy to watch it. If I was to recommend this film, I'd say it's one to watch with your buddies whilst having a few beers, just chilling out. So yeah, I'm gonna go along with the critics for this and go for a straight middle of the road 5, having nice days out of 10.
Okay, cool. I was thinking of giving it 8, and then I was like, 8 is a bit high, but it's so much fun. It is one of my favourite kind of fun films to watch. I can rewatch this film. I've seen it maybe 4 or 5 times now. I'm giving it 7.5 out of 10.
Okay.
Just for the pure fun of it. Probably if they did remake it now, I can't imagine there being as many boobs in it. If they did. The music's great. Barbara Crampton's in it. I love Mike character. Dick Miller's in it. I love Malls. It just ticks all the right buttons, or presses all the right. But I don't know. It does something. It ticks all the right buttons and presses all the right boxes. So yeah, I couldn't give it. I can't realistically say it's some amazing film, but just for pure fun and rewatchability, I can't give it an 8, but I'm going to give it a 7.5.
Okay, all right, cool, brilliant. Okay, and now let's go into our trivia.
Trivia. Oh, yeah.
So I only really have like 3 bits of trivia, and I think we've already discussed 2 of them. I got a bit more to add on to it though. So like we've already said, like this film was allowed to shoot at a real California mall, as long as they didn't damage any of the facilities and had to remove all traces of their presence before opening time at 9 a.m. The mall's head of security, though, they didn't like them filming in the mall, and they were constantly accusing of them of causing, disrepair. But the mall's owner was really supportive of the film and made sure that the production was able to complete its work on schedule. So that's cool.
That's cool. Yeah, it just sits nicely. There's probably like 5 or 6 mall-based films that I enjoy. Like, it just sits nicely in those. Then I just have a thing for mall-based films. Yeah,
yeah. Because like I said, I didn't know anything about this going into it, so I figured out as I was watching it. I was like, oh, this is definitely a real mall. So it is interesting though, like the amount of mess that they did cause. Like they must have smashed like every window they saw. Those robots did not care, but they had it cleaned up by 9, so what's the problem?
Yes.
So the next bit was, the movie was originally released in March 86 under the title Killbots, but it performed really poorly, and the producers felt like the movie's title turned off audiences who might have thought the original movie poster was more like a Transformers-like children's cartoon instead of a violent exploitation movie. So after some time, the movie was re-released into theatres under Chopping Mall with over 15 minutes cut. Yeah, that's quite bizarre. I've never heard of that before, a film being released and then pulled back, edited, and then re-released under a different name.
I'd imagine that Roger Corman, there's probably been a few Roger Corman ones. That seems like kind of his MO. Make the most amount of money out of something you could possibly do, and kind of because he reused a lot of clips and parts, like the first film that Jim Wynorski wrote. I think it was Battle Beyond the Stars. They reused those clips in, I'm not kidding, about 9 or 10 other space-related Roger Corman films. So yeah, it's just making the most out of what you've got, I guess. Or like what's that it's like Silent Night Deadly Night is another one. Silent Night Deadly Night Part 2, where most of the Silent Night Deadly Night Part 2 is remembering the first film in just big chunks of it. So yeah, I think this next one will make you appreciate Jim Wynorski even more. When the stunt crew was setting up,
the scene where Greg is thrown to his death from the 3rd level of the mall. Jim Wynorski volunteered to try the stunt himself as long as they set it up from the 2nd level. He completed it successfully, but found out later that he'd actually broken a rib, but he didn't tell anyone that he got hurt and just carried on, and people didn't find out until after the production. That's pretty crazy. I mean, again, fair play. I've broken loads of bones in my time, and that shit hurts. So,
I've actually only broken a rib. Like, I've never broke. I think maybe I broke a toe, but I broke a rib, and yeah, that was really painful. Somebody elbowed me playing football. Like, it's not something you can usually just pretend you haven't done.
No. I mean, that's commitment. Yeah. Hats off to him. Cool. Right. So if you're ready, we'll go to this week's game.
Yeah.
I want to play a game.
Cool. So this week's game that I've made is called What's That Movie? I'm going to be thinking of a film, and you've got to guess what it is by only knowing the director and the year it was released.
Okay.
Cool. So I think I got 6 films. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 films. Director and year. So start off with James Wan from 2013.
Oh, 2013. Malignant?
No, it was indeed The Conjuring.
Oh, okay.
Next up is Wes Craven from 1977.
Is that the Last House on the Left?
It was The Hills Have Eyes.
Oh, The Hills Have Eyes.
Next up is Ari Aster from 2019.
Oh, Midsommar? Good film.
Yay! Eli Roth from 2005.
Hostel? Hostel?
Ooh. John Carpenter in 86.
It's either They Live or Big Trouble in Little China. Big Trouble in Little China.
You were wrong on both. It's actually Escape from New York.
Okay. Damn.
And last up, we have Sam Raimi, but from 2009.
Sam Raimi, 2009. Is that a horror film?
It is. It's not Spider-Man.
Sam Raimi, 2009. Is it one of the Evil Dead's?
It's not.
Remake? No, I don't know.
Mm-mm. It is Drag Me to Hell.
Oh, okay. Can't see that.
You got a couple.
Yeah.
2 out of 6.
That's quite tough.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, and that is it for the show. So, just to wrap up, next week might be a miss because I know you're out, you're busy, and I'll also be busy moving house. So, I don't think I'll have my computer. Yeah, I haven't forgotten about the poll pick because next week was supposed to be the poll pick week, but I plan on doing that either end of next month or it'll be the first episode of the year. So, yeah, that poll pick was the winner from the found footage movies, and people voted for Unfriended. So we will get onto that. It's on the list.
Ooh, one that I haven't seen. That'll be good.
Yeah. Yeah, for people that don't know, each month we put a themed poll pick up on Facebook and YouTube for you to vote on what you want us to watch. And then, obviously...
I'm looking forward to seeing that one.
Yeah, it'll be a good one, yeah. And as we move into December, of course, we're going to be doing some Christmas horrors. So stay tuned because it's going to be bloody festive. Yeah. But yeah, that's all I've got for this week, unless you've got anything that you want to add on.
No, I'm looking forward to it. So Unfriended, there's a few films called Unfriended. Is this the one from 2014?
Oh, it sounds about right.
So because there's Unfriended Dark Web, Unfriended Proxy, Unfriended Offline.
Oh yeah, 2014. That's the one. I think that's the. I think Dark Web was the second one. I think that's the sequel to this. So yeah, 2014 Unfriended.
Well, that should be interesting because there's not one actor in it that I know.
No.
So, or the director or the writer. So it'll be a completely new one for me.
Yeah, I think because you liked Host, I'm pretty sure that you're going to like this one.
Okay, that was interesting. Excited.
All right.
Let's go.
Sweet.
Let's go.
If you liked today's episode and want to hear more, then go ahead and give us a follow on wherever you're listening from. You can also like us on Facebook, as that's where we do our themed poll picks, where you get to vote for what we do next. Feel free to leave us a comment or send us a message, or you could even email us at allthingshorror666@gmail.com. Thanks a lot for listening, and we'll see you in the next one.
We all go a little mad sometimes.
This is my boom